Hello and welcome to another episode of The Brave Room. And I know I say this every week, but this is a very special episode. Before I introduce our guest, as always, leave a comment. Now, with me today, we have the lovely Ali Baker. Say hi.
Hi! Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. So, for those of you not aware, I don't think I've ever talked about this. I have been a fan of yours for like a while.
Yay, I'm honored.
Yeah, and you are partially responsible for this happening because I didn't do the whole video games thing until I started vlogging, and I didn't start vlogging until I was watching you. I think it was it Taco Bell or In-N-Out? You had a weird vlog.
Oh yeah. I had an In-N-Out vlog. I was doing like this Life XP thing where I would just I wanted to try everything for the first time, and so I did like a tasting of like In-N-Out or wait, what was it? It was Jack in the Box.
It was Jack in the Box. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember back then, like my idea of vloggers was that they have these exciting lives. It's you only vlog about how you rode on a fighter jet with a bunch of supermodels or whatever.
So not realistic at all.
So, you telling me that's not true?
I thought that everything I read on the internet was true. What is this?
But yeah, and I remember your vlog about it. You were just like. Essentially, it was almost like an improv show because you were just going through this bag of Jack in the Box, and I was like, "Yeah, I want to do that. That's kind of fun."
Hell yeah!
And now here we
I'm
are,
so glad.
more than about a decade later.
That's so rad. Yeah, that's awesome.
So I brought you on the show for more reasons than just to date both ourselves with how long we've both been on the internet. As listeners of the show may be familiar, life's kind of shit right now.
True facts.
Things are pretty terrible. So, I brought Ali here because we are going to reminisce about the good old days.
Yeah. Man, were they good.
Man, were they good. Specifically because you used to work on a show called X-Play.
I did.
We are gonna talk about that, essentially.
Hell yeah.
And just in general, about the stuff that went into making that. So for those of you, actually no, Ali, why don't you introduce X-Play to our very young audience who may not know what we're talking about?
Well, hopefully y'all have heard of G4, and if you haven't, it was a channel that was specifically dedicated to video games and entertainment, kind of like Spike TV, but this was more so tech focused. They actually had a show called Tech TV, as well as internet focused and video games focused. And they had a show called X-Play that was basically video game tips and tricks for gamers. And that show actually inspired me when I was in college to produce my own kind of version of that and broadcast that on our school TV station. Yeah, I mean, I think it inspired a lot of people.
Yeah, because children in the audience, I need to explain to you something. The term influencer did not exist back then.
No, it was the wild, wild west of gaming.
Yeah, this was pre-YouTube, essentially.
Yeah.
So the idea that, TV was still fairly, I don't know how it was in the States, but in Malaysia, it was still fairly rigid. The idea was they don't just let anyone on TV kind of thing.
Yeah, so true.
So the idea that you had these two hosts, and they weren't in suits or anything, and they're talking about video games of all things.
Yeah, I mean, that was mind-blowing for me. I found X-Play and Attack of the Show, both shows that are on G4, when I failed out of college. Fun fact about me, I failed out of college. I went initially for soccer. I had a soccer scholarship, but I was doing the art program as well, which is what I really wanted to be doing, but doing those two things at once was way too much because I was taking 4 hours of like foundation art classes a day, and then on top of that was sandwiched with like waking up at like 5 a.m. to lift and then going to practice at 4, and then at night I'd be like in my friends like dorm essentially playing Resident Evil 4 until like 2 in the morning. So it was really no surprise that I failed out. But yeah, I actually discovered G4 when I was back at home, and I was like at a kind of a crossroads in my life. I didn't know if I wanted to go back to school or what I wanted to focus on. And I found G4, and, you know, Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb were doing what I like loved. I was like, oh my God, here are these two people that have this innate passion for video games, and they're sharing it with people who also enjoy that. That's a beautiful thing. Like, why not me? I could do this. This would be fun, you know? And I actually like re-enrolled in college that year, and that's when I started focusing on television production and photography as my primary majors. So I have them to thank for that.
Yeah, definitely. Like I was actually rewatching some episodes of X-Play at work the other day. I always seem to find the exact same episode of X-Play every time I like do a random Google.
Yeah.
It's the Desert Storm one, and the one that 13 is. The one where they looked at 13, the game. And
Nice.
my favorite thing about it is, like, you know, even though they have complaints about games, there is a love there, you know?
Yeah, I think that's something that I've always found, especially working in gaming and entertainment for the last 13 years, is you can't fake passion. Like, you can try, you can really try, and you can do a good job, but at the end of the day, gamers see that for what it is. And I think that was one of the things that really set G4 apart from the other networks, is you could tell they were like legitimately having a blast, you know? And that this was something that they loved. I mean, Adam Sessler's Soapbox was something that inspired me because I was at the time studying art and critiquing art, and my fellow students were critiquing my art, and I was like, I'm so good at critiquing art, like he's essentially doing the same thing with video games. This is so cool. Like, this is literally like, this is what I've been training for, you know? Like,
yeah.
So just to see someone doing that and just be so passionate about it and like gung-ho, it was super inspiring for me as a college student, for sure.
Yeah, so you were a writer on the show, right?
I was not. I was actually an intern.
Oh, you're in. So, like, could you talk us through what the life of intern Ali was like then?
Wow, they had us doing a lot of things. We actually worked alongside Attack of the Show as well. So we had a lot of PA responsibilities, but we also time coded stuff as well. I mean, it really just depended on the day. Like, there was one day that we had, I don't know if you guys remember planking, but yeah. There was like a whole episode on planking, and the interns just like went out on like an adventure, and basically like we went around and like took pictures planking all around like the area for the episode. But honestly, the majority of my job, which was the coolest thing ever, was I was actually the person, if you saw a video game review on the channel, let's say it was a video game review of Bioshock, or they were explaining like or teasing something that was coming up that was related to Bioshock, the footage that you saw of gameplay, that was me. So they just basically had interns capturing video game footage. So there was that, and yeah. I had a few like cameos, which was cool too, but it was so cool to like be like, hey, like that's me, like I'm playing that game, man, like that's me, you know? Fun bragging rights.
Definitely, and the best part is this was pre-YouTube, so you didn't have to go online and see like a bunch of people tell you suck at Guilty Gear.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, completely different back then, for sure. Yeah, and like that was such a cool thing too, because I wanted that internship so badly, and it wasn't a paid internship, but I was just like, I can do this. Like, I was working at GameStop at the time. Like, I actually ended up going like door to door on campus with like Pokeball cupcakes and NES controller brownies that I sold to people. to raise funds. I raised like $500 through my bake sale, which, I mean, my last name's Baker, so I was really
the Ali Baker bake sale.
I was really leaning hard into that. But that, and then online, I raised like about $500 too. So, I mean, this was my first time of just being like, holy crap, like the internet is beautiful. Like, people want me to follow my dreams? What? So, I don't know. It was just such a huge thing. And I'm so grateful for that experience. Like, it didn't bother me at all that it wasn't paid because I was out there doing what I loved. And it also led to like more opportunities for me too. Like, that's actually how I met Chris Hardwick and started doing the Indoor Kids podcast with Kamal Nanjiani. I think I ran into Chris Hardwick at E3. I was shadowing him that day, which was like so cool because it was kind of a look into the life that could be for me. And now, like, when I think back at that, I'm like, oh crap, like I'm him now almost. Like I was him in that situation, like, you know, do mostly hosting and game journalism stuff. So it's just cool. I was so grateful for those experiences early on in my career.
Yeah, definitely. And I think for a lot of people, like one thing they don't understand that sometimes it's not just about I really, really like video games. You need that spark that helps you like vent that feeling, you know? I guess the more accurate term is express that feeling.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think that's another thing that set G4 apart, in my opinion, was they really had a handle on the comedy aspect of all of it, and they really had fun with their sketches and their skits. That was actually one of the things that drew me towards it. I was actually in a sketch called the Rise of the Apes or something, but they had me on there as an intern, and that was actually really fun. Just working with their whole team, like everyone was so cool. It was really fun. Like, I don't know. It was like a total boys club, but like I'm such a tomboy, you know? So like I was like, this just feels normal. You know, like yeah, it was awesome. Like, yeah. Those were the days, man.
Cause like, okay, if my boss asks, hey Sean, thanks for listening to the podcast. Like, you know, we do try to keep it some level of professional here at Gamer Braves, but also, especially with the video stuff, because I've been doing more video stuff with the company YouTube channel, and there is a want to have more fun with it, you know.
Yeah, I think it's especially now. Like, I mean, those times were different back then as well. Like, I mean, when I first started in gaming, I'll be real with you, like there weren't many opportunities for women at all. And one of the reasons that I was able to make opportunity for myself was I actually read a book called Game Over by a man called David Sheff. Yeah, or Shelf. Yeah, in the book he talks about the meteoric rise to power that Nintendo had in the 90s with gaming consoles and just the success of the Game Boy. And in it, he describes that Nintendo actually loosely translated means make your own luck. And that has always stuck with me my entire career. I was like, oh my God, if Nintendo can do it, like, why can't I? And that's actually how I got my jobs working with Major League Gaming early on. That's how I got my job working with Rooster Teeth. I saw that they didn't have any female hosts working with Achievement Hunter. And I was like, hey, like I saw that you guys are going to be at E3. I'm at E3. Let's team up. Let's do something, you know? And because of that, I was able to like make my own opportunities. So I'm so grateful for like knowing that. And like, it's kind of like a fun fact too. Like, Nintendo, make your own luck. That actually makes a lot of sense because they've been so successful in dominating the gaming industry. So
Yeah, definitely. Also, yeah, I'm glad that you clarified on the E3 Rooster Teeth thing, because I was just about to say I always assumed that they were filming the E3 thing and you literally just walked on set and was like, I work here now.
Yeah, well, you know how that is. You see a camera, you run into the frame, and you just hope for the best. Sometimes you just gotta hope for the best.
Pretty much.
Camera, there, running.
We had a local convention here a few years ago, and every year there was this one guy who would do a panel on Gundam. And I
Nice.
I remember one year seeing his panel, and I was like, he's a very nice guy, lovely dude. And I thought, your panel's okay, but you need a heel. You need, like, someone here needs to like instigate. And so the next year, before the convention, I messaged him like, "Hey, can I come on your panel?" So
Nice.
and he was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And it was the most fun ever.
Yeah. I mean, that's so true. I mean, often in new industries, we have to make opportunities for ourselves. And I mean, as a woman early on, like 10 years ago, 13 years ago, like there just weren't. I mean, the Frag Dolls, I was a part of like the Frag Dolls program for a while. They were Ubisoft's all-girl gaming squad that basically represented Ubisoft at events and demo games for the public. But I mean, aside from that, there just weren't really a lot of opportunities for women. You know, it was more so just, I like that. I want to do that. Let me make that happen. You know, like pitching ideas, like emailing people and being like, hey, like, have you thought about, like, I see that you need coverage for this. Would you like?
Have you considered me?
Exactly. Wait, so yeah. So cool.
So
yeah,
like, as a continued monument to the fact that we are totally going to ignore anything happening in the present day right now, you started streaming recently.
I did, yeah.
I look over because we're friends on Discord, so I can see what you're streaming, and you're streaming freaking 360 games.
Yeah, I am. So I mean, it's kind of the same thing that we're doing right now. We're looking back quite fondly at nostalgia and saying, wow, I miss those days. For me, getting back in touch with some of the games that changed my life. And also, I recently kind of have been dealing with a lot of like personal self-discovery, and I've been unpacking trauma. And so getting back in touch with older Ali has been kind of a joy for me. So I've been playing Alice Madness Returns, which the story is very heavily embedded in kind of like pharmaceutical culture and just psychiatry and brainwashing and all that stuff. And so it kind of, I related a lot to my own personal experience growing up and being diagnosed with ADHD and being put on meds at an early age, I think like second grade. And then I'm also playing through Lollipop Chainsaw, which is honestly, it's just a perfect game. It's actually co-written by James Gunn, who 2 years after he co-wrote the game, it was announced that, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy was coming out and he was directing it. And I was like, oh my God, I know that guy. You know,
it's the
like,
Lollipop Chainsaw Man.
Yeah.
Also Scooby-Doo.
But it's just a fun, like, beat 'em up comedy, like just mashing buttons, like so enjoyable. All the jokes are there. You can tell like not only is the style very similar to Guardians of the Galaxy, but the music is just it's such a throwback. And yeah, all the little like, I don't know, all the little like jokes too throughout the game. You can just tell, you know, and it's fun to go back and enjoy that and be like, oh crap, like playing that again and just being like, you know, I'm seeing like all of these influences kind of like mold together, you know? So being able to look at that again for a second time has just been a total joy.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to talk a bit about the 360 generation, or I guess in my case it would be the PS3 generation.
Yes.
But the like
classic.
I feel like games then were just a little bit more wild. Like, I feel like come the PS4 generation, there weren't nearly as many one-off games anymore. Everything had to be, like, part of the great big franchise. And, you know, PS5 generation, everything's just The Last of Us remake. It's either a sequel to The Last of Us or a remake of a sequel to The Last of Us.
Yeah, you mean you feel like there were more one-off games back then?
Yeah, I think we need more one-off games.
Yeah, I feel like it was a much more open market, and I feel like there's a lot of pressure that's put on like these AAA titles to keep turning out like massive profit, but at the end of the day, it's so much like Hollywood. When you look at movies, it's like, you know, what's really great is that joke that, God, what is his name? He made Spaceballs, but it's like all in the quest to make more money. So you like come out with like the second game, like the second movie or the third movie, and it's like, oh, okay, like this isn't as good. And I feel like it's kind of the same way with games in a way. Somehow they manage to do it sometimes, I'll give them that, but it's just hard to like remake content or redo content and expect it to be incredible, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah. Also like the Wii generation as well. There was like just the amount of games that came out on the Wii around that time. Wow.
Yeah, No More Heroes.
Yeah, some really good ones.
Also,
The World Ends With You was on DS, I think.
Oh, The World Ends With You. This is like the third time I'm gonna talk about how great The World Ends With You is.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the sequel to that, but
yeah.
my friend and I were playing it the other day, and I just lost it because The World Ends With You has one of the earliest usages of the word meme.
Yeah, old school throwback. Yeah, I'm quite the meme connoisseur myself, so it's like respect the memes. Actually, that was one of the things that I loved about G4 and Attack of the Show was was it Epic Fail? They would just do a lot of stuff that was Internet Incorporated, which, hey, great band name, Internet Incorporated. But yeah, no, I think that was just cool too, because the internet was like, it was almost like the network like understood the demographic and they were like, okay, we get you. Y'all are nerds. We are too, you know? And that was awesome. I was like, oh, it's like finally something for me. I feel seen, you know? But
I feel like
whereas like Spike TV was more like manly stuff. We're doing man stuff today. And I was like, oh no, like this is more my speed.
I feel like you almost couldn't do that for the nerds type of humor anymore because like ever since Big Bang Theory, it's always been how many titles can you drop in one sentence?
Yeah, oh my god.
Hey, is that Star Wars, McDonald's, Thundercats? Ha 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 ha.
More like Big Cringe Theory. Yeah, I can't watch that show. It's honestly, it started out great. At first when it started, I was like, oh cool, they're like doing this thing like it's like Friends, but which I mean, it's like Friends, but it's like with gaming and geek culture. That's cool. And then like as the series progressed, you could tell that the writers knew nothing about nerd culture. They were just trying really hard to get it in there.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a disconnect with that. And I think that Hollywood is changing in a way where we're seeing more diversity, we're seeing more representation, and the content is great. Like it's a direct reflection of that, which is so cool. Because, you know, the people that know the things, you know, that they're writing about are actually getting opportunities now. So
yeah, man, Lego movies, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yes, I'm actually playing through. I'm playing through like a million games right now, but I'm playing through Lego Harry Potter right now, which has been really fun. The Lego series is actually one of my favorite couch co-op games to play with just like whoever. So,
thank you for bringing that up. I would like to soapbox for a solid 15 seconds here. Hey, Traveler's Tales, remake Bionicle Heroes, please. Bring the game back, please. I'm playing through it now, and like this game would be great in modern day conditions.
Give the people what they want.
Give me what I want. Screw the people. I want Bionicle Heroes.
Dude, you know what was really great that I loved, and this is probably unpopular opinion, and no one remembers this game if I had to guess. But there's this game called Pokemon Trazi, and it was kind of like Snood. It was like Snood meets Pokemon, and it was so adorable. And it was on DS, but it was so cute. And I really want them to remake it for the Switch. So if anyone out there is listening right now, please remake Pokemon Trazi. Such a good game. It's just a fun puzzle game. It's like, yeah, it's like if Peggle and like Snood, just like every like puzzle game that you love, if they had like a marriage with Pokemon, beautiful. Mwah, love that.
Oh,
Bring
man,
it back.
I would say like the Pokemon version of any genre game is usually really, really good because it's accessible.
Right? Dude, right? I had Pokemon Pinball growing up on the Game Boy with the Rumble Pack and everything, and that game changed my life. Like, seriously, that game is the reason why I became, like, a pinball fanatic, IRL. Isn't it funny how, like, sometimes you, like, have an exposure to things backwards? Like, I played Pokemon Pinball on my DS before I even ever played a real pinball machine. But, it totally made me hooked, dude. Like, so fun.
When do you think Pokemon Tetris is gonna come out? I feel like that's
my
gonna
God.
be that the world is not ready for Pokemon Tetris.
The more collaborations that Pokemon does, like, I'm so here I'm here for all of it. Like, and I'm gonna be here for all of it. I saw that Pokemon was like teaming up with like Old Navy the other day or something, and I was like, oh, Old Navy, sign me up. Like, I'm down. Let's do this.
So I think the most life-changing thing Pokemon did for me was, I don't know if you know this game, it's called Pokken. I guess it's called Pokken Tournament or something like that. Anyways, it's
is it like Pokemon?
Yeah, it's a Pokemon fighting game.
So is that like Tekken meets Pokemon?
Yeah, it's developed by the people who made Tekken, yeah.
No way! Oh my God, I have to look into this.
So anyways, like, I used to always like kind of like fighting games but never got into them. And then I was in like, there's too much to understand, and my friend was always there next to me being like, no, trust me, you can get into this if you try. And I'm like, too much. And so I was in Japan a few years ago, and I was at a Pokemon Center in Japan, and they had arcade machines with Pokken on it. And I was like, haha, I'm gonna play the Pokemon fighting game just to say that I did. And then I tried it out, and Pokken was like, the tutorial, they're like, okay, all moves give you a different colored aura. Red moves are attacks, blue moves are blocks, green moves are grabs, and they are rock, paper, scissors. And I was like, oh, that's really simple. So at any point, I just have to guess if my opponent, which of the three my opponent's going to use, and then do the thing that counters it. And then I told my friend about this, and he's like, you understand. That's what a fighting game is. Like, this is a transferable skill that you can use. And now I am hooked on fighting games to the point that my co-host on this podcast isn't here because she's afraid I'll talk about fighting games too much.
That's awesome. Yeah, I actually grew up in the arcade. The first games I ever played were, I think it was like Street Fighter. And I would go to the beach with my parents growing up, and we'd always wait to get food, and I would just run off and play games. But yeah, it's interesting too that they did that, because I mean, Pokemon is so strategic, and the way that you play Pokemon is based off of it's strategy in the same aspect almost. So it's cool to see that they kind of brought that together.
Yeah, did you see the Pokemon MOBA? I know this is bringing us too far into the future, but
no, I did not. I think I may have seen pictures of it. It has like a big Pikachu on it, right?
I think so, yeah.
Right.
But instead of doing the whole like towers, instead it's capture points. And that's freaking genius. And I'm just like, yeah, no, this...
Oh, wait, did you say Pokemon mobile game, or
like,
did you mean
MOBA.
like Pokemon?
Like MOBA, like League of Legends, Dota type.
Oh, MOBA. Okay, sorry. I thought you meant like truck. I thought you meant like the Pikachu, like the, because there's... Okay, that went off the rails a little bit.
No worries. Now I'm interested in this giant Pikachu truck. That's...
right? Yeah, no, that's a thing. Yeah, now I'm interested in the Pokemon MOBA. Yeah, no, I haven't even heard about that. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I'm just
the world is... This is how we know the world is getting to good places. There's so many things you can do in relation to Pokemon.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, Pokemon Go was pretty great as well. Like, it got me to go outside.
Yeah, it's funny to me because my parents are very old school. They're very conservative. For my parents, I mean, I worked with a lot of really cool people over the course of my career, but it wasn't until I was like 10 years in and I got a job working for Larry King, doing hosting a gaming collector's show, that my parents were like, wow, Allie, you really made it. But for me, like making it, like straight up making it was being on the national news for Pokemon Go. They had me on the news to like explain it to people, and I was like, oh my god, like holy crap, like I did it. You know, like, but it's just like so funny how like different people have like different perceptions of what like making it is.
Yeah, I think in my case, I was interviewed by one of the local radio stations here, like as an expert to talk about esports.
Yes, I love that for you.
And it was one of the weirdest things ever, because I think at that point I was doing it pro bono for another site I was working at. I think that was the time when my parents realized, like, oh no, this isn't like one of those fleeting hobby things. Like, this is a thing.
This is like for real. This is not for play.
Like, yeah, no,
the games are for play, but this is not for play.
Your name is attached to something now.
Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting that you said the pro bono stuff, because I mean, honestly, to get your foot in the door in this industry, I mean, it's the same thing with G4, like that internship. Like, I had to work at GameStop to make that happen, but all of those opportunities like made me who I am today, and if anything, helped me get my foot in the door. Like, you gotta start small, and like it's not always easy in the beginning. Like, you're gonna be kind of overextending yourself, and just do as much as you can. But like, I look back on those experiences and I'm like so grateful for them, you know, like I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Okay, would you say, could you pinpoint your entire career to like any one game?
Oh my god. No. I can tell you that a few games definitely really influenced me. Bioshock was one of the games. Bioshock and probably like Mass Effect both moved me to tears, and I was just like, holy crap, like all I know is that I've been studying art for like 3 or 4 years now, and like this is an art form. Like, I mean, Roger Ebert is dead now, so it doesn't matter. But he was saying that video games weren't art, and I was just like, no, this is an art form. Like, this is just clearly something that you do not understand. But yeah, I mean, it's funny how like art is subjective, and we all have different kind of opinions and perceptions of like what we deem to be art, but that's all based off of like our own personal experiences in life. And playing through Bioshock was such a crazy moment for me, because I was like, this is truly an art form. This is like taking theater and art and like this medium where I can actually make the decisions, and it's putting it all together. Like, this is so cool. Like, I want to spend my life like talking about this stuff. Like, I want to get invested in this, you know? And that was like kind of a turning point for me, of being like, okay, like, how do I do this, you know? And like, I think later that year, the Frag Dolls had announced their like cadet program, which was getting my foot in the door and being able to go to events and travel to PAX East and PAX Prime out in Seattle. And I mean, that was such a huge experience for me too. Like, I always felt alone most of my life, and I dealt with kind of like a lot of bullying growing up. So going to my first gaming convention, I found so many like-minded people that were just like me. I was like, these are my people, you know? And that was just mind-blowing when I had lived like such a kind of a sheltered life. But yeah, that was kind of it for me. I was like, what more could I possibly want out of life?
Definitely. The reason I bring that up is, even though it's not my favorite game, far from it actually, I can pinpoint a lot of the moves in my life to one game.
Yeah.
It is
Which
Detroit
one is it for you?
Become Human.
Oh, nice! Yeah, that game was cool and really innovative.
This conversation went a completely different way. I was gonna say I was not a fan of the game. So
oh, you didn't?
I mean, like, I'm in this weird place where mechanically it's a good game, but I also do not like David Cage.
Yeah.
So the first event that I covered was PlayStation had the Southeast Asian PlayStation experience.
Cool.
And so they had like an hour for just press exclusivity. Like, public couldn't come in for 1 hour while the press got to try everything out. I remembered seeing like Detroit Become Human there, and my camera's not on, so you've never seen. I don't think you know, but I usually wear like a blazer, a shirt, and a bow tie. because
Oh, that's awesome, because bow ties are cool.
exactly. And so here I am, like
in the house.
one of the like probably the best dressed game journalists in like a country mile. And I'm playing Detroit Become Human, and I'm clearly not enjoying it. Like I've got this but the Sony people are there taking photos like for their press kits and stuff.
Yeah.
And so they snap a photo of me and it's on Facebook like as part of their like official photos for the event. And
oh my god.
The site I was writing for before that, that's how like we all tried out the demo separately, and we all met up for coffee after that, and we were all just like, so Detroit's rough. And so and we really bonded over that, and like that started like every upwards trajectory started from me not enjoying Detroit the first time I played it.
That's so cool. Yeah, I mean, I only played like the first level. I think I just played the demo for it. I don't typically go for those kinds of games because I put too much pressure on myself. Like, because there's so many different kinds of endings, and like I'm already a completionist, so it's like, why would I put myself through that of like playing it over and over again? And if it's just, I don't know, it would stress me out, to say the least.
Yeah, mechanically that game is great. Like I think that type
cool
of game,
concept too. Like I think they had their head was in the right spot for it, but I don't know. I wasn't compelled to continue playing. So
the first level is actually, I'm not surprised anyone who played the demo thinks that game is good, because that is a good demo for the game.
Yeah.
The only problem is everything that comes after that.
Whoa. Yeah,
So
I mean, that makes sense. Good marketing move on their part. So, I mean,
so yeah,
give credit where credit's due.
Yeah, real recognizes real, you know. It's
yeah, for sure. I did have a really cool moment for me that was at PAX, my first PAX Prime, I think. Keith Apicary, I don't know if you know who that is. He did like a comedy, like improv video of like him being like a super nerd at video game conventions. And like he asked me to be in one of his videos. And that was kind of my first moment of being like, oh man, like I feel so cool. I mean, I'm sure he just saw me like literally working the line for like Assassin's Creed or something. It was like, hot chick, likes video games, cool, yeah. But like for me, like I was just like, dude, a guy who makes comedy videos wanted me to be in his video. We're doing this, you know? Like, and that was actually kind of almost similar to like your moment, I feel like, of being like, oh crap, like it's all happening, you know? And I ended up working for Rooster Teeth shortly after that, so.
After you like wandered into an Achievement Hunter video, right? That's like we discussed earlier.
That is so not what happened, but yeah.
For anyone in the audience, I am kidding.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Also, I did want to kind of like just bring this up before we end the show. You mentioned Bioshock being like, you know, it's for its time, it was like, that was really, really clever, the things Bioshock does, right?
Yeah, and honestly, after talking with Ken Levine about it, like, I didn't know, like, his story is so interesting to me because he's so inspiring. Like, he actually was trying to get into theater. He was trying to become a screenwriter. And he had pitched this play, essentially, to several different people. And they had all turned him down. And it wasn't until he adapted into a video game and kind of changed the game itself by doing so that he hit massive success. Like, he was literally about to throw in the towel when he made Bioshock, you know? So crazy to me.
Yeah, I was gonna make you a recommendation, actually, because I don't know if you've played Nier Automata.
Oh, I've seen some of it. It looks really cool, but I have not played it yet. Please, recommend away.
Yeah, no, because like it does a more modern version of I'm talking around spoilers here because there are a lot of children in the audience who might not have played Bioshock or Nier Automata.
Yeah,
but you know the thing in Bioshock that only works as a video game?
Mm-hmm.
Nier Automata does it on like a whole other level. It's
Ooh.
really, really cool.
I like that. I like surprises. I like a twist. I like a good twist. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those things where like anyone who's within like melee range of me will have to hear about it on end about how great Nier Automata is.
Yeah, isn't that how gamers just are? It's so true.
Pretty much, yeah.
If you're in my area of effect, you better believe I'm going to be talking with you about Pokemon for the next 2 hours.
Oh yeah. Did you hear the museums in Japan are having like a Pokemon dinosaur exhibit?
What? Are you serious?
Yeah,
what?
yeah. Hold on, I will send you a link right now.
Oh my god! It's like they just took my 2 favorite things and then made it an exhibit. What? That is so cool. Dude, one of the first games I ever played was on Sega Game Gear. They had a Jurassic Park game. Yeah, Jurassic Park game on Sega Game Gear. And the worst thing about the Sega Game Gear was like, if I dropped that thing, 8 batteries would just go flying everywhere, and you'd be like, okay, I'm gonna pick up my batteries, sorry.
That's like a cherry bomb.
Yeah. It was like a really good way to like let people know how much of a dork I was, because I'd be like picking up my batteries like slowly, like pressing in my glasses. Whoops, sorry. Oh, so embarrassing.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Oh my god.
I was telling my boss about it too. I was just like, hey, I want to go to this thing. And he's like, Juan, I'm going to be real with you. I don't think it's going to be safe for you to leave the country by the time this thing starts. And I'm like, oh, it's okay. It runs until summer next year. He goes, Juan, I'm going to be real with you. I don't think it's going to be safe by summer next year.
Oh no. Why? God.
And I'm like, you gotta let me dream.
Why you gotta crush my hopes and dreams like that? Oh man, dude, this looks so cool. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, I've been wanting to travel real bad. It's always been my dream to go to Tokyo Game Show. It's like low key, like not so low key, my dream to host Tokyo Game Show. But hey, that's just big life goals.
How's the Japanese going?
I mean, I need to visit Japan first, but like, yeah, going to Tokyo is like literally on my bucket list. Tokyo's I have a friend who's been there a bunch of times, and he always comes back and like he shows me pictures. There's this like of this like Mario like inspired video game bar, and I'm like, shut up, dude, I want to go there so bad. Are you fucking serious? So I have like a long list of like just things that I want to like check out. But yeah, this looks so cool. Maybe I can make that happen. We'll see.
We'll see.
I'm broke as hell, so I mean, let's be real. I'd have to really make some serious moves before then.
Listen, we all need to find our rich Saudi uncle.
Be the rich Saudi uncle you want to see in the world. Is that the quote? I think that's the quote.
That should be the quote. And on that note, I think we can call it an episode here.
Hell yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on. It was really fun pretending to be, 10 years ago again?
Yeah. The good old days of gaming. The Wild Wild West, if you will.
The days where we weren't, living through a world-changing event.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Everyone's just surviving right now. Props to you. Honestly, round of applause. Props to you. Y'all are amazing. Seriously.
Except you, Tim.
Oh, no. No. Tim.
We trusted you, man.
How could you do this?
Anyways, thank you so much to Ali for coming on the show.
Yeah, my absolute pleasure. Thank you again for having me. This has been very fun.
Right? And as always, I just realized I started this podcast to introduce myself. I have been Juan from Gamer Braves. And don't forget to leave a comment. We do a whole thing where we read comments at the end of videos now. So even if it doesn't make it on the next podcast, it'll probably get put into the next video. And pretty much just, hit me with your best shot, essentially.
Dana, dana.
Because
Hit
weak
me
sauce,
with your best shot.
weak sauce comments are very boring to respond to. So either say something very nice or very mean, whichever one works.
Woof, you might be opening the floodgates with that one.
Dude, I should show you some of the comments I sift through at work. Anyways, this has been the Brave Room. See you guys.